I'm Mark Mullins in Austin. We begin with an Austin connection to a plane crash in Laredo. One of the most influential leaders in our city's tech community was killed in the crash. Capital Factory co-founder and CEO Joshua Baer died when the business jet crashed onto a highway. Tracking data from Flight Radar 24 shows the plane took off from San Jose del Cabo, Mexico on Tuesday evening, heading for Austin when it diverted to Laredo. The Federal Aviation Administration says the jet crashed on the Loop 20 highway just before 10 p.m. Authorities say the pilot and air traffic controllers lost contact with each other before the plane went down. Videos from witnesses show emergency crews and bystanders helping people get off the plane as it burned. 5 other passengers were on board. They were taken to the hospital. One woman told CNN some of the passengers were kids and that her husband helped pull them out.
I was thinking, oh my God, this thing is just going to explode. The fire was getting bigger and bigger by the minute. And so that was my concern because there was a lot of people helping the people inside. When they opened the door, the first thing one of the kids said is, help me, help me. My husband said it was very dramatic. It was something that he would never forget.
During a briefing this morning, Laredo's mayor said it was nothing short of a miracle that the crash did not end in more than one death. The city's police chief noted there is a hotel just a couple of feet away from where the plane crashed. Meantime, tributes to Joshua Baer are coming in. In the statement announcing his death, a spokesperson for Capital Factory called him a, quote, visionary force, a mentor and a champion for tech startups and in Texas, writing that Baer dedicated his life to helping entrepreneurs turn their ideas into reality. Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett from Austin posted a picture of he and Baer together on social media Wednesday afternoon, calling him, quote, the driving force in Austin's tech story. The spread of the New World screwworm is forcing animal organizations across Texas to rethink how they care for animals. The parasite can infest livestock, wildlife, pets, and in rare cases, people. KVUE's Brianna Perez spoke with a wildlife rescue group in Bastrop County that's making changes to try to stop the spread.
A happy, healthy home. It's the message greeting visitors at Austin Farm Sanctuary and the goal behind everything they do.
Chance is here up at the front, Snoopy's back in the back. They are both blind.
More than 250 animals across 14 species call the sanctuary home. And with the case of the New World screwworm moving through Texas, co-founder Chris Fullerwig says they're keeping a close watch to ensure it stays a happy, healthy home.
We rescue, so that makes it difficult. We don't know where animals are coming from, what their situations have been, and the act of moving and transporting animals makes us concerned.
The USDA says there are 12 confirmed cases in Texas and New Mexico. Gillespie County remains the site of the only confirmed case in Central Texas, a goat infected last week. At the sanctuary, Fullerwig says they are turning their attention to prevention and response.
Usually the cows have more flies on them than the goats, I think just by nature of them being bigger, usually out here grazing more.
Starting with spraying insecticide and increasing inspections of the animals.
We have a whole log that is our short-term and long-term wound care list, and so we have really close eyes on them.
He says they are being more mindful of where they are rescuing from and speaking with experts about what next steps could look like if cases grow closer.
I think that's what we have to keep a pulse on, just like a wildfire. We have to see how close is this encroaching until we turn into our 3rd protocol, our 4th protocol, which might be, shutting residents up in certain areas and trying to figure all that out.
Over the years, Fullerwig says they have faced a number of diseases that can impact their animals. Still, he says their mission stays the same.
We've had to learn just to kind of navigate, People couldn't come around when we had COVID, so we had to figure that out. But Bertha, who is now staring into my soul across the fence over here, wants us to keep doing this work. And so we have to find out how to do it, not just keep rescuing animals, but to keep them safe.
In Bastrop County, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
And on Tuesday, Austin public health officials and Texas A&M experts briefed Travis County commissioners about how the county is preparing for any possible cases. They stressed the risk to humans is low right now, but said early reporting of suspected cases is critical to stop the pest from spreading. Even though much of the focus has been on how an infestation could devastate the livestock industry, officials said people who sleep outdoors also face a higher risk. Several employees at a Pflugerville restaurant say they have not been fully paid for months now. KVUE's Jessica Cha spoke with them and reached out to the owners of Down South Cajun Eats for a response.
For Serena Saldana,
There's a couple of pay stubs.
the hardest part of working at a restaurant isn't the long hours. It's not getting paid on time.
I'm supposed to be more than that.
Saldana says she was hired as general manager of Down South Cajun Eats in January and immediately noticed that payday didn't always come on time.
No, I was not getting paid on every day of the month. They were just giving us the checks. But we couldn't cash them because they were gonna bounce. They would ask us, oh, can you cash them in 2 or 3 days?
So instead, Saldana says owners would pay employees, including herself, through apps like Cash App or Zelle, which would be sent days after payday.
This is one full check payment.
Which other employees, like Jerry Saldana, Serena's brother,
This is a partial payment.
says is confusing.
It's complicated to know exactly how much I'm supposed to get paid or if I even got paid the right amount.
But Saldana says these late payments got worse after May 6th, when a deadly shooting happened at the restaurant. She says after that, Cajun Eats saw a slowdown in customers.
And then the payments started coming through little by little. Here's a chunk, here's a chunk, here's a chunk.
$1,300 on May 8th, $180 on May 10th, $1,000 on May 26th. And Serena Saldana says to this day, owners have still not paid her or other employees the full amount.
I'm like, hey, what is going on? These people need to be paid. Like, where is the money going? I don't understand.
On Tuesday, KVUE reached out to the owners of Cajun Eats, and in an email, they denied the claims that they have failed to pay employees for weeks. We followed up asking for an on-camera interview and for documentation to prove they're consistently paid employees in full. No response. So we visited the restaurant on Wednesday, but there was no one to speak to.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling.
So we called the owner's cell phone.
I'm sorry, this person is not available.
You know, I take care of my mom and my brother. I pay all the bills and it's not right for us not to get paid because we all have responsibilities. Now I'm at risk of, losing my apartment because I haven't been paid on time to pay my rent.
So employees like Jerry say they're left struggling.
That was Jessica Cha reporting. Dutch chipmaker NXP Semiconductors is planning to move into a new campus in Northwest Austin after putting its longtime Oak Hills headquarters on the market. The company confirmed to the Austin American-Statesman it leased the entire Champion Office Park near Loop 360 and RM 2222. It was originally built in 1974 for Motorola. Filings with the state showed they're starting a $30 million renovation that's set to be finished by the end of March 2027. NXP plans to consolidate operations at the new site, which comes after several rounds of layoffs at its former U.S. headquarters in Oak Hill. Travis County property records show the campus in Oak Hill is still for sale. It is appraised at more than $43 million. The Austin airport just scored a record-breaking federal grant to build its second concourse. The FAA is handing over $90 million, the largest single award in the history of this competitive program. The money will help fund Concourse B, a new facility with 26 new gates that will connect to the main terminal through an underground tunnel. Most of those new gates will serve Southwest Airlines. This grant is part of a $5 billion expansion plan designed to double the airport's capacity to 30 million passengers by the early 2030s. That'll do it for us here in Austin. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.
Here's a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. Starting with the World Cup and the historic 1-1 draw between Portugal and the Democratic Republic of the Congo at Houston Stadium Wednesday. The match delivered a moment many Congolese fans never thought they'd see. Luis Ortiz has more on the reaction from both sides.
A historic debut for the Democratic Republic of Congo, who earned a tough draw. A very huge 1 point for the Congolese team against Portugal. A 1-1 draw, really a shocker, right? Because Portugal came into this game being the favorite. We got the chance to kind of bring together after the game both sides of this game, the Congo fans and the Portugal fans, and they actually got to exchange opinions after the result.
We made history.
Yeah.
We made history for our country. For this country, we made history because everybody knows Ronaldo in the world.
Yeah.
He's a good player. But today, unfortunately, he made the Leopards. The Congolese team were standing beyond the Leopard and the DRC. His leg couldn't move no more. He couldn't play. So we're trying our best. We're playing for survival.
For Portugal, this draw, does it feel like a loss?
It's not a loss because we got a point, but it's heartbreaking because we dominated possession. We controlled the game. We had another goal taken away from offsides. Pretty much having a defender gone, we changed our tactics. They have a good counterattack. So we just held the ball the entire first half and didn't shoot after the goal.
There you have it, guys. So look, this is the beauty of football, right? Where cultures come together, and on the field, they may be rivals, but off the field, you just saw, we got Congo fans, Portugal fans, you know, having a friendly debate, going back and forth after the result. And then you see that, look, for Congo, this feels like a victory. Portugal, they say it's not a loss because we got a point, but it is disappointing. Back to you guys.
We'll be watching both teams going forward. Luis Ortiz reporting. Houston Stadium was the place to be, but perhaps the next best thing was a watch party for the Congolese community. It was packed, it was electric as fans witnessed Congo's first ever World Cup goal. The reaction you have to see. Here's Orko Mana.
The Congolese community erupting in cheers after the Democratic Republic of Congo scored its first ever World Cup goal today. Hundreds hooting, hollering, and praying at this watch party in Houston, witnessing history.
After 52 years, we're back at this and we're going to show them how it's done. Oh, yeah.
The final score against Portugal, 1-1. It's a thrilling result many never expected to see.
It means a lot. It means a lot. We have Ronaldo playing and we scored. It means a lot. It means a lot to us.
Fans from across the U.S. and around the world packing into the GSH Event Center in Houston today.
I couldn't watch the game in the stadium, so I came here to watch it with my fellow Congolese. It's a long travel just to watch our team play. At least I'm in the same city with the team, with the president, and with the rest of my people.
They're hoping to use this moment to change the narrative about their home country.
It's a very good opportunity for the country to be known on the positive side, because most of people, they know Congo as a country of war, people are killing and so on, but now the Congo is showing the new face.
They're also doing that through this art on display showcasing Congo's culture and their faith in the future.
In my language, we say, Eloko Yamakasi, strong, stronger than before.
And now, all eyes are on what else Congo can do in this World Cup.
I think people or the world, they want to see us how we will go too far. That's why we are here. I think maybe we can go to the next level. Who knows?
That's why they play the sport. That's fantastic. Now to the next generation of players. 12 young soccer players from Sugar Land's Imperial Soccer Club were selected for a special World Cup role. 6 girls took to the field Sunday as flag bearers before Houston's Germany versus Curacao match. 6 boys are still waiting for their big moment at a match next week. KGU11's Michelle Choi talks with the girls about their one-of-a-kind experience.
1, 2, 3. I got crowd, I got field.
As the World Cup excitement continues in Sugar Land, I reunited with 5 of the 6 girls from Imperial Soccer Club, still buzzing after their once-in-a-lifetime experience. This was the moment this past Sunday as they stepped onto the field at Houston Stadium as FIFA World Cup flag bearers before Germany faced Curacao.
You guys were on a World Cup stage. How exciting was that for y'all?
It was really exciting and amazing. It was just a really good opportunity.
Yeah. Do y'all think you did pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
I first met these players at Constellation Field last week, where they showed off their skills while counting down to their big moment. But even all that anticipation couldn't fully prepare them for what came next.
Just like the environment is crazy because you don't expect that many people to be so loud and cheering.
From the tunnel to final practice, the nerves were building.
Did you guys practice a little bit before you stepped out?
Yeah, we had a practice session about an hour before.
Nerves definitely kicked in as they prepare to step onto one of the biggest stages in sports.
While we were waiting in the tunnel to go, we were just sitting there for 30 minutes just thinking in our head what would happen.
Yeah. So during those 30 minutes, what were you doing to calm yourself down?
I was just telling myself that I'd be more fun than nervous.
For Sophia, the scale of it all still feels almost surreal.
It felt like it wasn't real because looking up and seeing 68,000 people felt really wow, this is actually happening.
For Katara, it's the memories they got to share together.
We all got there really early, so we all got to hang out and kind of like take photos, talk, have fun together.
And Coach Nico made sure not to miss a single moment.
Were you crazy busy taking as many pictures and videos as possible?
All the moms made sure that I took all the photos, all the videos.
Beyond the photos and videos, his biggest hope is that the memories and friendships last.
I'm hoping after this one-day experience they still continue to message each other and they share photos.
And the World Cup journey for Imperial Soccer Club isn't over yet. 6 boys from the club will get their turn on the world stage next Friday. The girls' advice?
Don't be nervous and take it all in when you're on the pitch.
In Sugar Land, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
Oh, you gotta love it. Now to the soccer fan who has taken the U.S. and social media by storm. Freddie, a fan from Germany, has been experiencing everything the U.S. and Houston has to offer, and we've been following his journey. Take a look at what he's been checking off his list in the past few days. Since Germany's win over Curacao Sunday, he met with Houston police, saying the station looked just like it does in the movies. He went to Galveston Monday night, braving the winds and first signs of rough weather along the coast. He got a personal tour of NASA from astronaut Anne McClain. She even let him sit in the commander's seat of the Mock Orion capsule and FaceTime the crew on the space station. Then after posting about his NASA experience, Anne wrote back to him saying this is one of the best parts of her job and it was an honor to host Freddie and his friends. You notice Freddie never shows his face, it's always covered, so it's a mystery. Freddie, now a social media sensation, continuing his U.S. tour with a road trip to Oklahoma City, then it's on to Toronto. That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. You know, today we do have a chance of seeing a few thunderstorms, but mainly in western parts of Texas. Now, tonight and into tomorrow morning, there will be a chance of rain and storms in the northern and central parts of Texas. And then during the day Friday, we're expecting widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, on Saturday, there is going to be more rain, I think for a lot of us, except in the far western half of the state, and that does include the Panhandle. So we definitely have several rain chances ahead of us, but we also still see some pretty warm temperatures. Now, for this afternoon around Amarillo, 76 doesn't seem so bad. That's actually pretty nice, but it's also going to be pretty windy. However, by the time we get into tomorrow, temperatures will climb back into the upper 80s, and then on Saturday, we actually have mid-90s returning. Now, in Austin, completely different. Upper 90s today, lots of sunshine. Temperatures go down a little bit tomorrow as clouds start to increase, and then rain and storms move in for Saturday, and temperatures hold on into the low 90s. Across North Texas, we've got upper 90s this afternoon. Tomorrow, the clouds move in, temperatures drop down into the low 90s, and then by Saturday, we've also got the chance of rain and storms with the high of around 90 degrees. Now, in Lubbock, temperatures in the upper 80s today, tomorrow, a little bit more sunshine on Saturday, and temperatures do climb back into the mid 90s. Around Waco, upper 90s this afternoon, but we actually drop back down into the upper 80s for tomorrow and Saturday as a few more clouds move in, but those rain chances do look pretty slim around Waco. So, starting our timecast at noon today, notice that most of us would be dry, but as we get into late this afternoon and into the evening, we start to see some rain developing. Now, there's going to be at least a chance of rain and storms in the Panhandle, but the coverage isn't going to be all that great. It quickly moves off to the east. So by late Thursday night to Friday morning, now we've got the chance of rain across North Texas. It moves off to the east, but then later in the afternoon and evening, there's going to be more rain, at least about a 30% coverage-wise across North Texas, but a little bit more coverage off to the south and western parts of Texas. As we get into your Saturday morning, we've got the showers coming over North Texas into central Texas, and then by Saturday afternoon, more rain actually retrogrades back into the west. That impacts northern, central, eastern, and southern parts of Texas, but it looks like the far western half of the state, including the Panhandle, would be staying dry. So for tonight, it does look like we're generally going to see a few more clouds move in. Temperatures drop down into the mid 70s across the north. We've got 60s in the far west and 80s across the far south. Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be hot, but not as hot as what we've had today. So tomorrow afternoon, temperatures dropping down into the low 90s across North Texas. Also expecting low 90s in Austin, upper 80s around Houston, 90 in Abilene, and about 87 tomorrow in Lubbock. So now breaking it down region by region around El Paso for tomorrow afternoon, looking at a high of about 100 degrees. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be staying in the low 100s over the next couple of days, and really don't see too many rain chances. Across parts of Midland, low 90s today. We're going to have some cloud cover, but we really get rid of that cloud cover the next couple of days, so temperatures climb quite a bit. Central Texas and Austin for tomorrow afternoon, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, but the rain chances start to move back in as we get into Saturday. So temperatures, they actually hold steady in the low 90s, but by Father's Day, we do climb back into the mid 90s. Around Fredericksburg, upper 80s for tomorrow afternoon. We stay in the upper 80s on Saturday. By Sunday, though, we should be back in the mid 90s. Southern half of Texas. Now we're talking about San Antonio. Low 90s tomorrow. Rain chances move in on Saturday, but it doesn't really help our temperatures all too much. It looks like we stay in the low 90s. Around Laredo, low 90s for tomorrow. Plenty of cloud cover. The chance of rain is going to be very low, but it looks like we're going to be pretty dry, though, for Saturday and Sunday, so temperatures start to go up a little bit more. Across the North Texas, we've got the chance of rain and storms for tomorrow. Temperatures look very seasonal. 92 degrees is the normal for this time of year across North Texas. And then Saturday, with rain chances sticking around, temperatures go down by a couple of degrees. But on Sunday, the rain chances look very slim, and it looks like temperatures go back up into the mid 90s. Looking at parts of East Texas around Houston for tomorrow afternoon, I think we see partly cloudy skies, a lot more cloud cover by Saturday. The chance of rain and storms does return, and temperatures go down to about 90 degrees, but low 90s return quickly by Sunday. Now in Tyler, Texas, we've got the chance of rain and storms tomorrow afternoon, temperatures in the upper 80s. We stay in the upper 80s on Saturday, and we actually keep that chance of rain going all the way through Father's Day. Now across the valley, I don't really see too many rain chances, but by the time we get to Saturday, more clouds move in, and that allows temperatures to drop by at least a few degrees, but it doesn't last very long. It looks like by Sunday, we start to heat things back up.
I'm Chris Lawrence with your top stories in North Texas. The Dallas PD is implementing some policy changes after a dramatic U-Haul chase and shootout near Dallas Love Field. The police monitor says the officers involved in this chase were able to clear themselves, and Cole Sullivan shows us how that's changing.
This high-speed chase had dangerous near misses.
Oh my God!
And dramatic wrecks.
Breakdown, just breakdown.
But something else,
chaotic, which most vehicle pursuits are,
caught Michelle Andre's eye.
We felt very strongly about it.
Her Office of Community Police Oversight review of this 2023 pursuit found Dallas officers broke their own chase rules. Too many units, driving too fast, on the wrong side of the road, and a supervisor involved in the chase himself cleared them all of wrongdoing.
I think there's always concerns about the department reviewing itself. And in this case, you're involved in the pursuit and you're being asked to review your own actions.
After her findings, the department just made changes, amending its general orders so in the future, an uninvolved officer will review whether rules were broken. The Dallas police chief says in part, quote, "Coming to this mutual agreement is an example of the effective collaboration between our department and the external oversight body."
We can't change what happened, and making sure that future cases are reviewed differently, that was important.
She disagrees with the chief's decision not to discipline the officers her investigator found broke the rules, but says these changes will keep the city safer if a dramatic chase like this happens again.
It's a win for accountability, it's a win for independence, right, civilian oversight. I think it's a great thing for the community.
In Dallas, I'm Cole Sullivan.
When cases remain unsolved, families are left with questions that can linger for many years. Brittany Costello was in Tarrant County to show us how new technology is helping solve these cold cases.
inside the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's office.
We pursued everything that was taken at autopsy.
Investigators are using new tools.
The center of the tree here says potential UHR.
To identify unidentified human remains.
These are cases that there were really no leads for identification.
Dr. Christian Crowder says his office has more than 100 of them, some dating back 50 years ago. Death investigator Amy Renfro,
of course it's overwhelming,
was hired to put a dent in that list.
She's in the center of this tree.
Using genetic genealogy and $500,000 in a federal grant, she's doing just that.
Joyce Ann Henson.
Henson was a young mother from Tennessee.
I was about 3 years old
when Carrie Reeves says her mother, Joyce, walked out of her life. Her family says she was known to hitchhike.
I really thought that she just didn't want to be a mom.
She spent more than 40 years believing her mother had found a better life, a weight she carried when she had her own child.
I got worried that I was going to walk away.
Until last month, when Renfro got a DNA match on one of her cases. Henson was the victim of a 1984 homicide. She was strangled and dumped in what used to be a landfill west of Fort Worth.
My initial response was heartbroken, and then it was just, now what? What happens next?
The homicide was never solved.
It's work undone. We won't stop until it's completed.
Dr. Crowder says this gives investigators something new and serves as motivation to keep going.
You want everybody to have a name. That's my driving force.
In Tarrant County, I'm Brittany Costello.
We are a little over 3 months from the State Fair of Texas, and officials just unveiled the music lineup this year. It features something from just about every genre, like Grammy-nominated country music singer Clint Black, Houston-based rapper Paul Wall, and a tribute to the Swedish pop group ABBA. The gates open September 25th, and the concerts are free with admission. Six Flags Over Texas is about to unveil its new record-breaking roller coaster. Tormenta Rampaging Run opens next Friday. Park officials say it's the tallest, fastest, and longest dive coaster in the world. Riders go well over 300 feet high before that thrilling first drop. The roller coaster is the centerpiece of a new Spanish village called Rancho de la Tormenta in the park's Spain area. We've all seen how one item can shut down a TSA checkpoint. Cole Sullivan just got a look at some video from DFW Airport showing how it can also add up to thousands of dollars in fines.
The second busiest airport in the country is always moving. Tens of thousands of people fly through DFW every day. But there's one thing that can bring all that travel to a grinding halt.
Whose backpack?
In video.
You're aware you can't bring a gun through the checkpoint?
After video.
Do you by chance have a firearm in your bag?
We watch DFW Airport Police respond to a TSA checkpoint shut down because someone left a gun in their bag.
In your bag?
I must have just forgotten about it.
You must have just forgotten about it?
And over and over we hear people say,
Why is it in here? And you gotta take it out.
They forgot a deadly weapon in their carry-on.
So he had no clue he had it in there. Yeah.
And for some, it's not the first time.
Did you drive here?
The TSA would not give us updated numbers, but for years, DFW and often Dallas Love Field have been in the top 10 airports nationally for firearms caught at checkpoints. Nearly 400 guns at DFW in 2024, second only to Atlanta's airport.
Woo, gonna be an expensive day for you.
The TSA says fines start at $3,000 and can go as high as $17,000.
So we're going to put the weapon back in here, but you have to be more careful.
The agency says all firearms must be declared and in checked bags only. On these body camera videos from DFW Airport Police,
As you can see, I'm putting this here.
officers return the guns after checking to make sure the passenger is allowed to carry and told them to put it in their cars.
Make sure you get both of those out, okay? Yeah.
A stern warning, a hefty fine, and a delay for other passengers after one is caught packing heat. In Dallas, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Boy, always good to double check before you arrive at the security lane. And those are your headlines from North Texas.
I'm Adrian Carbajal. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Local mechanics have been busy following Sunday night storms, with dozens of vehicles taking on water after flooding swept through parts of McLennan County. Some of those cars may be a total loss, while others could still be saved if owners take the right steps. 6 News reporter Adriana Alexander spoke with a local mechanic about what drivers need to know.
Floodwaters entered homes, damaged businesses, and submerged dozens of vehicles across the Waco area Sunday.
I actually have a few people come and they asked me if it was drivable.
Local mechanic Tony Sanchez, who's gotten an influx of calls since Sunday, says some of those vehicles that were not completely submerged may still be drivable as long as water didn't enter the car's engine. The first tip for drivers whose cars were submerged in water is avoid cranking the car.
It's best to just shut the motor off and not allow the water to get, into the motor, because then it could be a catastrophic failure because the water is a lot more dense than the oil.
Second, unplug the car's battery.
If it's had any water entering the motor or the interior, to unplug the battery for sure.
Next, check the car's air filters. In most cars, that's the entry point to the engine.
I mean, most of the systems are pretty sealed. Electrical issues probably wouldn't happen because most of the connectors are pretty weather resistant, but at the same time, I mean, you never know.
But if your car was fully submerged in water, the likelihood of it still being drivable is slim. And Sanchez had to break that news to one of his customers.
I had a guy that called me and asked if this was fixable, and I said, "Did you get it? Were you fully submerged?" And he was like, "Yes." I was like, I would call it a total loss, because if you're that deep in the water, door level, I wouldn't trust it after that. I would call it a total loss.
In other news, more than 40 Texas legislators have signed a legal filing asking the Public Utility Commission to slow down and take a closer look at whether the major transmission line project is necessary before moving forward. Or Juliana Jackson explains why politicians say the project has grown far beyond its original intent as landowners continue making their case in ongoing administrative hearings, and a new fight is now playing out at the state level.
43 state lawmakers filed a letter supporting a motion asking the Public Utility Commission to pause and review whether these massive 765 kilovolt projects are needed. State Representative Brad Buckley says before thousands of property owners are impacted and billions of dollars are spent, regulators should take a step back.
Pause this project, make all the applicants prove the need for the project, and then let's get it in alignment with our our electrical generation needs.
Landowners have spent months raising concerns about property rights, schools, historic sites, public land, river crossings, and the potential impacts on rural communities. State Representative Hillary Hicklin says those concerns are resonating far beyond just Bell County.
This is rural Texas. This is who I serve, who Chairman Buckley serves. And so it's a response. A lot of this land, it's what people have worked hard for. Some of it's generational land.
It adds new political pressure as regulators determine whether these transmission lines are necessary and whether they should move forward as planned.
It doesn't end in Bell County or those power lines moving west. There are plans to move north and south. There are plans to move to the east. So every legislator needs to be on alert.
Both Buckley and Hicklin expect the transmission line debate to remain front and center to the next legislative session.
I expect to see a pause. You're not going to do this without us doing everything that we can to push against it.
The filing doesn't stop the project or the ongoing hearings, but it adds pressure on state regulators as they weigh whether these multi-billion-dollar transmission lines are truly necessary. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. Nearly 9 inches of rain fell in just 6 hours across parts of Southeast Texas Tuesday, forcing residents in Hardin County community of Wildwood to clean up as more weather passed through the area. 12 News reporter Spencer Plato has more from one of the hardest hit areas.
That sound is water rushing from the dam at Wildwood Resort City after torrential rainfall dumped nearly 9 inches in just 6 hours.
There was a flood like this a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and the dam had broke, and they rebuilt the dam, so definitely see if it holds up or not.
County officials and residents spent the day filling sandbags, moving vehicles to higher ground, and preparing for the possibility of more rain.
Wildwood was hit especially hard today with the rain, and it was requested, and we responded, and we brought them 200 filled sandbags.
Officials say heavy rainfall quickly overwhelmed drainage systems.
We've had some drainage off of TxDOT roads onto the county roads that that are slowing the county ditches from flowing into the right-of-way on the state highways.
Even though the sun is out right now, that wasn't the story this morning. A flood gauge right behind me says nearly 5 feet of water is covering what normally is a roadway here in Wildwood.
The whole entire drive through there, yellow bars on each side, that's normally the way you drive in, and the bridge is the way you drive out.
He says this is a common story throughout the area.
There are some people that have some flood damage. There's some cars that's been stalled out due to the water, but really a lot of the damage is being caused by people going fast over the roads, causing ripples going to the houses.
County leaders say they're prepared if needed.
Wildwood and the Coons Fire Department, they have staffed up with people and equipment. They have trucks and boats ready to respond. Our emergency management coordinators stayed in constant contact with Wildwood Security.
For residents here, the focus the next couple of days is simple. Stay alert and stay protected.
But stay safe on the roads is the main concern.
In Wildwood, Spencer Plato, 12 News.
Well, the hunt for Tydrick Davis, who is charged with capital murder, continued Wednesday. State prison official records show that he has been out of prison since March, and Davis, he was one of 3 men indicted for Ebony Gilbert's murder in Beaumont. She was shot and killed outside of her home in 2024, after confronting people who were trying to break into her car. Now, 12 News obtained an updated form from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office that requested the state prison agency to transfer Davis to the county's custody upon release. According to the sheriff, he was sent with that paperwork to prison in November, but it's not dated, and the TDCJ says they never received it. The district attorney's office in Jefferson County telling us that police, they are now actively searching for Davis. 12 News reporter Daniela Tapuada-Palau, she spoke with the DA's office to get some clarity on this case.
He needs to be back in custody to face the charges that he's been indicted for.
Monday afternoon, TDCJ records showed Tydrick Davis, one of 3 men indicted in the 2024 murder of Ebony Gilbert, had been released from state jail. 12 News reached out to the TDCJ, which confirmed Davis had actually been out of custody since March.
Kind of heard about it.
It's news that came as a shock for friends of Gilbert. Bishop Eldridge Charlotte said he'd heard rumors months ago that Davis had been released, rumors that became a reality.
They released him, and somewhere in the system, they failed.
Gilbert's family is now demanding answers. In a statement to 12 News, they called for a comprehensive review of how the release happened. The district attorney's office says they're also surprised by the news, and action is already being taken.
There's a combination of federal, state, and local law enforcement that are making those efforts to get him back in custody as we speak.
Prosecutors also have a warning for anyone who may be helping Davis avoid arrest.
It's a third-degree felony to harbor a fugitive. So if you provide transportation for, you hide them in a closet, you secrete them in any fashion away from law enforcement, or don't tell law enforcement the truth as to his whereabouts, then you're going to face this office and prosecution.
For Gilbert's friends and family, the focus remains on one thing.
Justice has to be served.
And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. Investigators say the man who viciously attacked 2 people in far West Bexar County on Tuesday is now dead. Deputies who went to a home on Cactus Plum in Stillwater Ranch found a disturbing scene when they were asked to check on the people who lived there. Sue Kalberg has the latest in the case.
As of today, we are no longer looking for Nisham.
Sheriff Javier Salazar says detectives believe 65-year-old Anthony Wayne Nisham is responsible for killing a 22-year-old man and bludgeoning that victim's 65-year-old mother on Cactus Plum.
We believe that Nisham is now deceased.
Salazar said with the help of DPS, the man was found in a nearby county. As for the victims, they're still not releasing the name of the deceased.
We did find evidence of gunshot wounds on that male, which is what we believe led to his death, and as well as a laceration to his throat area.
The woman who survived, Salazar said, suffered life-changing critical injuries.
It was most likely a savage beating that this lady suffered. And unfortunately, to this point, although she is conscious, she has not been able to provide much information.
Salazar said they're looking into reports of some type of disturbance in the house the night before the attack, but they have no previous history at this house.
You never really know what's going on in someone's head.
Neighbors say now more than ever, looking out for one another matters.
Remember that times are hard in different ways now, and, just always look for each other. Make sure we got each other's back.
Salazar says until the woman has time to recover, they won't have many more details to release. Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
A man accused of aggravated assault in the Hill Country is now the target of a statewide manhunt. Franklin Gonzalez Flores is in the country illegally and is now on a DPS most wanted list. Rania Kaur has the latest.
DPS says Franklin Gonzalez Flores has been on the run for months. He's wanted on multiple accounts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and now there's a cash reward for information leading up to his arrest. The Texas Department of Public Safety says he's been wanted by the New Braunfels Police Department on those charges since this past November. He also has several past arrests in Comal County for public intoxication. Gonzalez Flores is from Guatemala. He's 5'6" and has tattoos on his chest, shoulders, and right leg. DPS wants you to be careful as he's considered armed and dangerous. Texas Crime Stoppers is now offering a cash reward of up to $3,000 for information leading to his arrest. If you know where he is, you can call the number on your screen, submit a tip on the DPS website, dps.texas.gov. You can even submit a tip through their Facebook page. They say all tips are anonymous regardless of how they are submitted. Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
Law enforcement says summer can create new risks for children and teens as more time online can make them vulnerable to predators. Simone Simpson shows us how deputies recently cracked down on suspected predators and the message they're sending to anyone looking to exploit children.
One after another in recent weeks, you've seen suspects taken away in cuffs by BCSO. We learned Wednesday that this is a collaborative effort between the Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Secret Service.
A lot of these guys are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they capitalize on the fact that they're in a position of authority, they're in a position of trust, and they're in a position to gain the trust of a family member. And again, that's when they strike.
Not backing down from the looming threat of child predators and those who solicit prostitution, Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says over the past few months, more than 24 arrests have been made with their human exploitation unit.
This mutually beneficial relationship that we have with the U.S. Secret Service has turned out to be fruitful, and I have no doubt it will continue to be.
Brian Gibson, a special agent of the U.S. Secret Service, mirrors Salazar's statement.
Since January, our coordinated efforts have resulted in taking more than a dozen suspects off the streets, individuals who are targeting some of our most vulnerable, our children.
Salazar says adapting to the always changing digital landscape can be similar to a game of cat and mouse.
One of the big things that the Secret Service is able to bring to the table is they work in the whole country. They work in the whole world, really, but they work in the whole country. And so we may see something for the first time, and they may come to us and go, oh, no, that's been going on in Michigan or Virginia Beach or Florida for a while, and here's how we caught them. Again, just one of the many benefits to working with our federal partners.
Reporting for KENS 5, I'm Simone Simpson.
A new playground has been unveiled at McAllister Park, and it's all thanks to a 17-year-old Boy Scout. The park now has an outdoor musical sound garden. Thomas Murray came up with the idea as part of his Eagle Scout service project and was inspired by his older brother Sean, who has Down syndrome and a love for music. The project sets up outdoor musical instruments so all kids can experience music.
When I was building this project, I wanted it to be inclusive for people like Sean, but I also wanted it to bring joy to people. I play piano every now and then. I don't play as much as I'd like to, but when I do play piano, it's just joyful, kind of. Music can really help people. That's what I believe. Sean's the inspiration, but I feel like when you're dealing with music and when you're outside, I feel like it should be inclusive for everyone. So if everyone can use it, people of all ages, all disabilities, I think that's just better for the community in general.
The project was made possible thanks to thousands of dollars in donations. And that's the news in San Antonio.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas.
After months of searching and waiting for answers, a family has learned the fate of a loved one who vanished without a trace. Investigators have now identified human remains found in Gregg County as Mitchell Walters, a man reported missing last summer. But even with that confirmation, his family says their search for answers is far from over. Here's CBS 19's Renee Estrada.
Where's his body? Because all they found was the top half of his skull.
Mitchell Walters' sister, Tiffany Walters, says for months the family has held onto hope that he would be found safe. The 39-year-old went missing and was last seen in July of 2025 in the Kilgore area. Nearly a year later, that hope has turned into heartbreak.
But he was a great guy. He was a good brother. He was a better uncle. He was a dad. He deserves justice.
According to the Gregg County Sheriff's Office, DNA testing confirmed a human skull found in Liberty City last September belonged to Walters. And after months of forensic testing, his family was notified that the DNA matched their missing loved one.
I think even now knowing that the DNA, like that skull that was laying out there in that field, just rotting away, was really my brother. Yeah, it relieves a little bit of pain, but it causes me a lot of anger.
And although the confirmation ended months of uncertainty, his family says the discovery has been especially difficult, knowing their loved one was found in an area they often travel through.
You know how many times my daughter drove past that area where they found it, and to know that her uncle was just laying out there, or part of him. It's been rough. It's been pretty rough.
As investigators continue to piece together what led to Walter's death, his family is urging anyone with information to come forward.
It was your family. If something happened to you, you would want your family to know.
For now, Mitchell's family says the goal is simple: find answers, bring those responsible to justice, and finally get the closure they've been waiting for.
The one that called the shots to be brought to justice, and the ones that brought it to fruition to be brought to justice. Prison. I want prison.
In Liberty City, Renee Estrada, CBS 19.
Residents from across the Cedar Creek Lake area shared their thoughts during the Tool City Council meeting on Wednesday, rejecting a proposed data center project in Henderson County. For context, data centers are large facilities that house computer systems and servers used to store and process digital information, powering everything from cloud storage to streaming services and online apps. CBS 19's Nayeli Carrillo was there and has much more.
I'm going to refer back to the first three words in the Constitution. We the people.
One after another.
And we the people are against these.
Henderson County residents shared their thoughts about a proposed data center at the Tool City Council meeting Wednesday.
Literally a human issue. It's going to affect every single person, regardless of their beliefs.
I heard about it, and it made me sick to my stomach.
Casey Watson, like many of her Cedar Creek Lake neighbors, is worried about increased noise, light pollution, and the impact on property values in a community known for its quiet lake lifestyle.
I mean, it's very scary, especially because, like I said, we've only been here for 3 years. We love the peace and quiet, and it's honestly devastating to know that we came to a place that we might need to consider moving away from eventually.
Ashley Cook, a homeowner and lawyer, says residents are especially concerned because the proposed site is near neighborhoods, Cedar Creek Lake, and an aquifer.
This data center abuts right up next to neighborhoods and also the lake. It is also over an aquifer, and it's in a water conservation district. So the chemicals from the data center can leach into the, not only leach into the aquifers below, but also into the other water sources nearby.
During public comment, residents urged city leaders to slow the process and take a closer look at potential long-term impacts before the project moves forward.
Yeah. And our government officials and everybody who's involved in this needs to remember, we the people, and we are the people are opposed to this.
Cook says what started as conversations among neighbors has grown into a county-wide effort.
It's definitely a community outreach. I mean, I think this is bigger than Henderson County. Obviously, if you state, across the country. Several counties and communities are fighting these data centers.
Members of Save Cedar Creek Lake say they're working to educate residents about the project and encourage people across the lake area to get involved in the conversation. In Henderson County, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap up your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
Hi, I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. We are following major developments out of Corpus Christi City Hall as City Attorney Miles Risley announces his retirement after more than a decade with the city. In a memo sent to the city manager, Risley says ongoing disagreements on city council and recent legal fights have made the job more difficult, that the personal attacks, political division, and lawsuits have affected his ability to serve effectively. He has been at the center of some of City Hall's most high-profile legal matters, including the ongoing effort to remove Paulette Mayor Guajardo from office. Risley is set to retire August 2nd. And we could soon see a new chapter for the Port of Corpus Christi, long known for moving oil, gas, and agricultural products. Leaders say another type of cargo could be on the way. The port is entering exclusive negotiations with DP World, one of the world's largest port and logistics companies, to potentially bring container operations here to the Coastal Bend. Bill Churchwell explains.
The Port of Corpus Christi has long been a powerhouse for oil and gas. Now they have their sights set on a new venture that could add to their portfolio.
It's a scene that has defined the Port of Corpus Christi for decades and helped make it one of the nation's busiest energy hubs.
Oil and gas is not going anywhere, right? If anything, that's going to continue to grow also. But this gives us an opportunity to diversify.
Port CEO Kent Britton is talking about exclusive negotiations with DP World, which specializes in container shipping.
DP World is huge. So they're the 7th largest container terminal operator in the world,
handling around 10% of global container traffic each year through a network of more than 60 ports and terminals worldwide. It's a move that would bring the company's first container terminal to the U.S. Gulf Coast.
They picked us over some other really appealing locations. We're really happy about that.
Port leaders say several factors helped set the company's focus on Corpus Christi, including the deepening of the ship channel.
But also, we've had discussions about building an inland rail terminal out near Robstown, the higher draft clearance on the bridge.
COO of DP World in the Americas, Morten Johansson, added that it was the proximity to growing industrial and manufacturing markets and access to cross-border trade with Mexico. The project could also bring jobs during the construction of the terminal, followed by permanent positions. The terminal would be located right here, outlined on this map, just on the other side of the harbor bridge.
The warehouses that are on them will get torn down, the dock will get rehabilitated.
Port officials say container shipping could open the door for new business opportunities across South Texas.
Literally anything you can think of can be packed into a container.
But compared to the giant container ports like Houston, Corpus Christi would be starting much smaller.
I think at the height of what we do here, when we fully built this out, this might be moving 1 million containers a year.
Brenton says the partnership paints a very clear picture.
Corpus Christi is not closed for business.
If all goes to plan, officials say the first containers could be moving through here by late 2029. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
And while much of the state has been dealing with heavy rainfall, the wet weather also brought out some unexpected travelers. Take a look at this. No, that is not gravel on the roadway. It's what appears to be hundreds of frogs hopping across State Highway 286. We reached out to Texas DPS about what drivers should do if they encounter little things like frogs or really any wildlife that may emerge after storms. And their advice, stay focused on the road, keep it moving unless you can safely pull over and allow the critters to pass. In this case, a road closure in the area helped keep both the drivers and these tiny travelers out of harm's way. And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.